Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 17 of our F125 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in the Baku city. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from the Festival of Speed, the Temple of Speed I should say, that of course is Monza, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out though. But if we take a quick look at everything going on at the moment, you can see in terms of the championship, we are still hanging on to P10, just behind Kimi, Antonelli and Esteban Ocon, just ahead of Fernando Alonso. It has been a battle that has raged on throughout most of the season. Constructors-wise, we are just 4 points clear of Haas as well, 6 points ahead of Aston Martin. I think this is going to be a battle that goes right down to the wire. Lando Norris just 9 points ahead of Charles Leclerc. Ferrari now with a 71-point lead ahead of McLaren as well in the constructors. So things looking pretty good for the team in red at the moment. Vehicle performance-wise, if we try and take a look over there at how the car is getting on at the moment, as you can see, we are now comfortably actually better than Kick Sauber with Dennis Hauger's car. Unfortunately, my car is ever so slightly weaker still at the moment. But yeah, we are slowly kind of bridging that gap to the rest of the midfield. The results have been pretty good anyway throughout a lot of the season nonetheless. Get yourself subscribed if you're new. We're trying to hit 150,000 subs on the channel as well. But yeah, without further ado then, let's return here to Azerbaijan.
Great news. They've accepted that contract and signed on the dotted line. We should celebrate. And make sure we figure out how to stop any leaks about it. Nice work getting this one over the line.
Well, there we go then. That came a little bit unexpectedly as I was simming through everything ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We have signed Isaac Hadjar ready for next season, so looking forward to seeing how the Frenchman gets on with the team as well. I might actually drive as Isaac because I really do like him at the moment in Formula 1, so happy with that news. But now, let's head to Baku.
And a warm welcome here ahead of qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Normally these streets are lined with vehicles, it's non-stop traffic jams, but today the roads are closed to everyone except the 20 best drivers in the world. It's time for qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Well, we need to find about 0.3 of a second then as we head back out onto the circuit, but of course that doesn't factor in how much time the AI are going to be able to find as well here. The other problem I've noticed, you start a lap with only about 2/3 battery charge anyway, which is a little bit weird. But let's just see what we can do then. It's so tricky. You want to brake later into the corners, but it's very rarely worth it. You're always better off just trying to get the power down on the exits. But I reckon there's probably at least half a second on this lap if I keep it clean and tidy, which so far we are doing so. Not really up in the green though, but just trying to again keep the car planted. There you go, that was a nice run through towards the end of Sector 1. And again, it is just about trying to keep it composed, nice and steady on the throttle on corner exit as well. I feel like there was a bit of time to find down at this corner there if you just get the car wedged over the curbing a little bit more. And there we go, 4/10 up through the castle. Oh, tipped that in a little bit early, but we got away with it. And then the understeer up through the top of the circuit, you really do notice. Get right up to the wall as we try and get the power down through the old town. But at the moment then, it is looking like we could have both cars on the back row. Leave it in 7th gear there, try to open up the width of the circuit again. That corner obviously horrible, catches out many a Formula 1 driver. One more real corner of the lap, and oh, we missed the apex. Might have bottled that ever so slightly. We did carry good speed though through the turn. As we make our way then through the final couple of corners here, nice and tidy. Try and get on the throttle there. We've had a good run at the final corner, but now it is just a long wait until we get back to the start-finish line there. Activate the DRS, use the last remaining bit of battery. We're going to do a 1:41.3 P20, all we could muster up. And there we go then, George Russell fastest by 0.4 of a second in Q1, ahead of Charles Leclerc and Pierre Gasly up in P3 there. So quite a few surprises in the first session. We did end up going quicker than Isaac Hadjar, which is a little bit awkward considering I've just signed him. But Albon out in Q1, that's a bit of a shocker for him, alongside Behrman, Bortoletto, and ourselves, of course. But like I said, on F124, we can make the difference in the races. Hopefully that's the same on F125.
And a warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku, and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Russell, Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso, Piastri, Gasly, Sainz and Esteban Ocon, Leclerc, Doohan, Lance Stroll and Lawson, Albon, Antonelli, Ollie Behrman and Gabriel Bortoleto, Voisin, Hadja, Hauger and Nico Hulkenberg rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Well, here we are then down on the grid, ready in Azerbaijan. 26 laps ahead of us today, and I did think that sky looked awfully overcast. Rain is predicted by the end of the afternoon. I believe we had that 3 races in a row during the European leg of the season. Austria it rained, Silverstone it didn't, Belgium it did. So what on earth is going to happen today is anybody's guess then. We're going to start on the hards and just try and take him as far as we can sensibly into the race. I do enjoy this during Season 1. It always feels like a bit of a step into the unknown inside every F1 game. But ready then on the grid. The 5 red lights are on. Mighty long hole, but it is going to be lights out and away we go there. We've done pretty well actually off the initial phase. We'll try and get to the inside line of Antonelli in towards to 1 there. Big dive bomb coming in. That's taken inspiration from Daniel Ricciardo all those years ago. But we are immediately up then into P14 off the start, as I believe that was Lawson and Alex Albon still trying to make it 3 wide off of the corner there. So Albon trying to make up some progress after his Q1 exit yesterday. We've got to try and defend the inside line there. So that is late on the brakes. Just panicked for a second then that I was going to be taking a close inspection of Lance Stroll's diffuser, but he and Jack Doohan wheel to wheel in towards the next few corners. It's always difficult to guess kind of who's going to come out on top. Well, looking at the tyre wear then by the end lap 1, that front left still on 0%, so I think it could be similar to F1 24, where if you can manage the tyres here, you can make up a lot of gains. So here comes Lance Stroll, trying to have a look back past me then down the start-finish straight. It's Lewis Hamilton leading the way by the end lap 1 there, battling, I believe, with Max Verstappen. Haven't seen him win in the last couple of races, but Hamilton will want to keep his title hopes alive. As again 3 wide with Stroll and Doohan in towards turn 1. But this time around we will hang on. A big gap already opening up in front though. That is not ideal.
Yellow flag.
Oh, we've got yellows. Someone's breaking down just up in front. No idea who that is. That might be dropping to the wayside. Oh, it's a Ferrari. I think that's Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton out then of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So a devastating blow for Ferrari. As I don't know why he's not pitting, but there goes the engine going bang on that Ferrari car.
Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
Well, that is going to promote us 1 place closer to your top 10 then. But Hamilton, his World Championship hopes might be falling apart here in Azerbaijan. That is devastating. Well, what is going on there? Sainz and Piastri, they're getting the elbows out with each other. Good to see some hard racing coming in, but we need to try and find a way around the pair of them if we possibly can. So try and line up a run down this next short shoot there to the inside of the pair of them. Oh, we locked the rears up on the way in and drifted the car through. But as Esteban Ocon now has got past Lando Norris up the road, McLaren, for whatever reason, they are really struggling here in Baku. Well, the Williams, one of the faster cars inside F1 25. Our car, not one of the faster ones inside this game. There goes Carlos Sainz straight back down the inside and back up into P9. I'm just hoping we can work together to get closer to Ocon and Norris. But yeah, McLaren's pace here is just woeful. Well, over the last couple of laps then, Jack Doohan and I have just been following Carlos Sainz along in this GP. It's definitely not as much of the meta as it was inside F1 24, but it's definitely still a big characteristic in this game of just how beneficial it can be to sit behind a quicker car for lap after lap after lap.
Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 12.0 seconds.
Helga really has just made no progress so far in this Grand Prix, but Ocon, he and Lando Norris still battling in front, is costing them both a little bit of time. But it's the Haas that I'm scared about. They're really starting to pick up a lot of points late on this year. Alpine as well seem becoming more of a threat. And speaking of, there goes Jack Doohan to the inside. Oh no!
Safety car, no overtaking, reduce your pace. Keep your delta number positive as we form up.
I might have taken Jack Doohan out.
They're retiring from the race.
I thought he was going to slow it down a little bit more, but apparently not. And I think I might have just put him in the inside walls. So Jack Doohan's day, I think, is over. I think we picked up a little bit more damage from it, but nothing too major. But let's take a look then at what the strategy's doing. No rain.
This is essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
Yes, there we go then. So the rain not going to roll in by the end of the afternoon, so I guess that's good to know for us. But the team wants to do mediums and then over to softs. I want to try going the other way. We'll use mediums, we use soft tyres first of all and see then how far they go. Then we can use the mediums and hopefully be quick towards the end. But restarting this race then in P10.
Wait, just a moment, stand by.
5 red lights are on yet again. Oh, mighty long hole, but it is going to be lights out and away we go. And Esteban Ocon actually on hard tyres, so not too sure what his plan is towards the end of the races. What on earth is that? Ocon just turned in on me, just like scrolling earlier on. I got no idea how he didn't get any damage before then, as Lance puts us in a wall. Oh, just Baku is chaos, man. Oh, here we go, Lance Stroll trying to find a way around us. I don't think there's going to be a lot we can do against the Aston Martin man at the moment, as Verstappen's still dominating up front. I'm hoping, though, we can just stay in the range of Lance. But what has been good to learn then in this race is that the soft tyres do not work whatsoever. Only 4 laps on this set, and already we are really struggling with locking up and everything like that. I keep trying to move the brake bias more forward, and I'm getting very scared that we're just going to go straight on at some point. Oh, that's not what we wanted either. Nudge that outside wall through the final corner, and now Ocon and Carlos Sainz are going to try and get by me here. And they are going to inherit P9 and P10 as they're going to go wheel to wheel with each other on the run back down towards turn 1. I don't know whether these guys are going to the end.
We've got a new strategy available on your MFD if you
Whoa,
want
walk on, huge slide there at turn 1.
Copy.
Team want us in earlier on the medium, that's definitely what we're going to do. But I might come in even earlier than they were expecting, as round the outside of the Frenchman will go. You can hear it wheel spinning in 5th gear. What on earth is the car doing there? There's Ocon again, huge straight line speed. Can we get around his outside on the brakes? I might have done the same as what I did to Jack Doohan, ever so slightly. I think we're okay on that one. I think Ocon's lost his entire wing. Well, Ocon has done a very good job then of holding everybody else up behind us, so Ollie Behrman will not be too happy with his teammate not letting him by, despite the front wing damage.
We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
I've got no idea if anybody else is going to pit in this Grand Prix, but there's not a chance we can take these soft tyres, well, to the end of the afternoon. Into the pits then, nice and tidily we will go. I've opted not to change the wing, as it looks like most cars are on mediums or hards, so that's not looking good. But yeah, I've opted not to change the front wing. I don't think it's costing us too much at this stage of the day. Oh, nice tidy stop.
Okay,
2.5's not bad.
Perfect job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
On 10 laps remaining then in this Grand Prix. We are going to enjoy slightly fresher rubber than most of our order. But 12 seconds the gap to Helga. Can we close that down by the end? Honestly, I'm not optimistic. Oh, we got yellows, we got yellows. Someone's potentially breaking down up in front. I think Behrman might have gone...
There's a yellow flag ahead.
Yep, Behrman is retiring from the Grand Prix, sorry. I thought he might have gone for a spin, but apparently not. And Ollie Behrman, every time it feels like he's battling for points, something has to go wrong for him. And the Hassman becomes our 4th retirement of the day. Oh, okay. Max Verstappen. From the lead of the Grand Prix, Verstappen peels into the pit lane then. I don't know what tyres he was on, but we're starting to see a few more cars diving in. So are we not going to see everybody trying to get to the end of the Grand Prix? Are there still some more pit stops to be made? Especially if there's going to be rain on the way.
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now.
Well, a handful more cars in as well. Bortoletto in, Oscar Piastri in, as well as, I believe, Kimi Antonelli in his Mercedes. So, I mean, Hauger, he's almost up in the points. Well, I don't think Hauger's going to get a chance to get some laps inside the top 10 today, but hopefully he's about to give us some DRS to make our way through the final chicane then, using all of the available battery we've got just to bring that gap down. I don't know whether we did or not. I don't think we did. That's a bit annoying. So we'll lose a couple of tenths for free there, and I also used all of my available battery as Hauger, Hajar, Hulkenberg, all the H's into the pits. Where is Carlos Sainz? They're making his way out, so we're not that far behind Carlos again. Looks like we're not going to see rain to the end of the afternoon then, as Liam Lawson dives into the pit lane. So that is going to promote us up into the all-important 10th place again. Alonso there, all battling with his fellow Spaniard Carlos Sainz as they make their way out of the pit lane. The only one I'm a little bit scared of, Esteban Ocon. He definitely wants revenge in this Grand Prix, and he's going quicker than me at the moment. Well, as we round the final corners then to start the last lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, the clouds above looking very overcast, but rain doesn't look like it's going to be a problem before the end of this GP. Shout-outs to Ferrari, though, today, after Hamilton's mechanical failure early on. I believe Charles Leclerc technically has never come through the pit lane this afternoon. He is the only driver that, obviously, after the red flag, has been able to take his one set of tyres to the end of the GP, and it looks like he is going to profit greatly because of it. And for the first time this year, Charles Leclerc, I believe, is going to be leading the World Championship ahead of Lando Norris. Ferrari, they are here to fight. However, like I said, yeah, that mechanical for Lewis might well mean that he is out of it for good this season, which I'm sure he will not be happy about, and will continue to fight. We've still got, obviously, 7 more race weekends, 3 of those including sprints. There is going to be a lot of points available between now and the end of the year, but on the run back to the line, Charles Leclerc, he's always gone well around this circuit in qualifying. He is going to take victory today here in Azerbaijan with a fantastic strategic drive this afternoon. Played the long game, played the patience, and Max Verstappen will not be a happy man that he let this one get away from him there. Red Bull botching the strategy, just like we saw IRL in Barcelona, but in towards the final few corners of the race for us. Admittedly, we got very lucky. Oscar Piastri being slow all weekend. Jack Doohan was probably quicker than me. Esteban Ocon was definitely quicker than me as well. But the fact that we're going to pick up a point clearly goes to show sometimes if you're struggling on F1, just accidentally put the other guy in the wall, and you should be able to benefit from it. Out of the final corner, though, I don't think I've ever felt like I've worked so hard for a P10 finish. 1 point on the board, it helps keep the ball rolling. It is going to be 10th here in Baku.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory, he wins!
And that's 2 wins in a row now, of course, Crofty. And it marks the fact that it's not a fluke. So, you know, their head's in the right space. What more can we see going forwards?
Well, I don't know about you, but I've absolutely loved watching that action today, and I'm sure these 3 have loved taking part. Here come our podium finishers. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc, Charles Leclerc on top.
Well, there we are then. Charles Leclerc, the one-stop strategy for him was definitely the way to go today. 11 seconds clear of Verstappen come at the checkered flag. Russell in P3 ahead of Lando Norris there means that, yeah, like I said, Charles Leclerc, I believe, will have taken the lead at the top of the World Championship. Tsunoda ahead of Gasly. His pace was fantastic all day. Just couldn't quite convert it in the end. But he did beat out both Aston Martins, Carlos Sainz and ourselves to those final points-paying positions. Oscar Piastri will be left wondering what went wrong. The same can be said for Kimi Antonelli, as it was Alex Albon that apparently also retired in the Grand Prix today. Like I said, no idea what happened to him, but he joins Behrman, Hamilton and Doohan, who all failed to see the checkered flag. World Championship-wise, 4 in it between Norris and Leclerc, as once again Verstappen will re-jump Lewis Hamilton in P3, but I still think there's a 4-way title fight going down, but we'll have to wait and see as to how it looks come the end of the year. Ocon now up to P8 ahead of Alonso in the World Championship, 5 points in it from Ocon all the way down to myself there. Could we beat out Kimi Antonelli by the end of the year? That would certainly be quite a milestone. Constructors-wise, Ferrari further extending their lead over McLaren. Red Bull now not a million miles away from the Brackley-based squad. Mercedes still in P4. Aston Martin now 3 points ahead of us. Jump into P5. We've still got a 5-point buffer though ahead of Haas. But Williams and Alpine can still also both be threats by the end of the year. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon ready for the Singapore Grand Prix.